So now quasi-contract. What is quasi-contract? It is just like a contract or similar to a contract, as I've already told you. Quasi means just like or similar to. Again, it is not a contract. When I say it is just like a contract, it is similar to a contract, that means it is not a contract by itself. It is similar to. When I say this person looks similar to you, does that mean that the other person, the person whom I am referring to, is you? No. When I say he's similar to you, that means that he's not you, but looks like you. In the same way, a quasi contract is not a contract by itself, it is just like a contract. It is similar to a contract. Here, the parties do not make this contract. The example that I gave you, did you make any contract with the owner? Did the owner make any contract with you? No. The parties do not make the contract. They, on the contrary, do not intend to enter into contract. The parties themselves never intend to enter into contract. They don't even know that a contract already has been created. So, who creates this contract? The law creates this contract. It is a contract in the eyes of law because it is created by law. Now, as I said, under all the contracts, you have one right and one liability. And here there is actually no contract, yet you have a liability. Though you do not have a right, you only have a responsibility here. You do not, as I said, have a right, you only have a responsibility. Because for creation of right and responsibility, you need a contract. But here, even because there is no even without the presence of a contract, there is a liability created by law, and this liability is termed as a contract by law. This liability becomes a contract in itself. Now, why is quasi contract made? Why is it made? It is made to justify the principle of equity. It is based on the principle of equity. Equity or equality. Now, what does this principle state? This principle says that everybody is equal. But not only equal, but everybody should be on an equal footing. Nobody should become rich at somebody else's expense. Nobody should become poor at somebody else's income. All should be same. I should not become rich at your cost. And this is the reason why I am not allowed to cheat you. This is the reason why betting is not allowed. This is the reason why wagering contracts are not allowed. Because in wagering contract, if I win, I become rich at your cost, at your expense. I do not get anything. Rather, the person who loses does not get anything. The person who wins gets the amount, gets the bounty. But in a contract, the law says one person should get, the other person should give. At the same time, the other person should also get from the first person. So both should get something and give something to each other. But in case of wagering, in case of betting, this rule is not applied. Same is the reason of bringing quasi contract into existence, because the law does not want somebody to get rich at somebody else's expense. The example that I gave you, you found a purse belonging to someone else. Let's say the purse had 1,000 rupees in it. So now you become rich by 1,000 rupees and somebody else becomes poor by 1,000 rupees. You are becoming rich at the expense of someone else. So law says this should not be done. This should not be allowed. If you are to get rupees 1,000, you should give something in return. He should get something in return. A contract is never one way. It is always two-way. So this is what the principle of equity is all about. In a contract, a principle of equity is followed. One person gives something, at the time he gets something also. This person gets something, at the same time he gives something also. So both are at the equal footing. Principle of equity states that no man must grow rich out of another person's loss. This is the same thing that I was discussing. No man should get rich out of another person's. Here, when you got the purse, you got rich at the loss of the owner. The law says no man should get rich at the expense of other person. And this principle is also called as unjust enrichment. Now, what is unjust enrichment? Let's break this phrase, unjust enrichment. Let's first understand what is unjust. Unjust is unfair. Unjust is unfair. Enrichment, you are becoming rich. When you become rich, it's called richment or enrichment. So when you become rich, but by unfair means, but because of unfair reasons, that would be called as unjust enrichment. So when you get the purse, you take the money out and throw the purse away, that would be unjust enrichment for you. The law says such unjust enrichment should be prevented. And this is the reason why it brings quasi contract into existence and tells you that, boss, you are under a contract now. You have a liability to return the purse to the owner. You are not supposed to spend the money which is kept in it. So this is about quasi contract. Let's understand the different types of quasi contract now.